In one of the most ironic acquisitions in recent memory, the Golden State Warriors acquired Chris Paul in a deal that sent Jordan Poole to Washington. As we know, CP3 has had a lot of memorable battles with the Warriors as the opposition, but now he gets to lace him up for the Bay Area as we head toward the end of his career. One of the biggest question marks about having CP3 in Golden State would be the personalities clashing because of him having so many battles with the Warriors, but it appears that it won't be a huge issue, at least early in the season, and also now that all of these guys are starting to get a little bit older. The other question mark for CP3 in Golden State is how he fits into the team's dynamic on offense, and through 3 games so far for the Warriors, I think Chris Paul has been a pleasant surprise. In 3 games, Chris Paul has 28 assists and just 5 turnovers, and he's brought somewhat of a calming presence to the Warriors offense when he's on the floor. The Warriors ball movement can be very chaotic at times, as it leads to a lot of turnovers, and that showed last season, as the Warriors had the most turnovers on average per game out of every team in the NBA at 16 turnovers per game. While the offensive system has proven to be plenty effective for the Big Three over the last decade or so, it doesn't mean it's perfect for everybody. With the addition of Chris Paul, the Warriors now have the opportunity to run some more traditional half-court style offense. One thing we've seen a lot of so far this season for Klay Thompson are off-ball screens. Off-ball screens can be used in a live half-court setting, drawn up for an inbounds play, or even sometimes used in transition. The off-ball screen is pretty self-explanatory. 1, sometimes 2 players will go and set screens for Klay, allowing him to create some separation off of the ball to get into scoring position. These have been staples of the Golden State offense for a long time, but the addition of Chris Paul makes these sets so much more effective. It's extremely simple, but this is what separates the good, willing passer from the elite playmakers of our league. When Chris Paul throws these passes, he's throwing the pass to the spot on the floor, not to Klay Thompson. The pass is already heading Klay's way before he even finishes his action coming off the screen, which allows Klay to meet the pass at the wing as opposed to having to wait for it. The advantage for Klay now is that he doesn't have to stop and wait for the pass, meaning the defense will be constantly scrambling around the screens, unable to get reset. These passes are also very accurate and almost always near the shot pocket, meaning the shooter can get right into a shot if there's a window of space to shoot, instead of taking the time to readjust the ball. It is very hard to leverage any kind of advantages against NBA defenses, so whenever you could shave off even half a second of time for an offensive player to get a shot or have a window to score, it makes a huge difference. With the amount of shooters on this team, Chris Paul is almost always going to have somebody open, and he will more than likely always make that pass. A player like Dario Saric is perfect for the Golden State offense as a legitimate stretch big, something Golden State really hasn't had. Dario can also put the ball on the floor and make the right pass to someone else. It's pretty clear to me that Chris Paul is handling this situation like a champ. To be the guy your entire career and then play on 5 different teams in the last 8 seasons, to now be willing to come off the bench for the first time in your entire life without causing a fuss is pretty admirable. We've seen plenty of vets around the league who are unwilling or very stubborn, transitioning into different roles late into their career, so I imagine the Warriors front office and coaching staff are very happy to see that Chris is willing to make that sacrifice. The scoring aspect for Chris Paul has been missing to start the year, as the shot has not been falling. To start this season, Chris Paul has yet to hit a 3 in 11 tries, but he's shooting 12 from 24 from the rest of the field. In CP3's first career game coming off the bench, he took only 8 shots. As a scorer, CP3 will be tasked with minimal responsibilities when there are so many options on the floor, which I think is perfect for him at the end of his career. Once he gets things going, Paul will be a great break the glass in case of emergency type of shot creator with the shot clock winding down, as he certainly still has the ability to create his own shot when it's needed. Over the last couple of seasons, one of the biggest criticisms for Chris Paul is possibly being too passive. But to be quite honest, I think it's perfect for this team. Once the shot starts to fall for Paul, the team offense will become much more dynamic. All Chris really needs to do with this squad is just set guys up and get them comfortable open looks. Once the shot starts to fall for him, the team offense will become that much more dynamic. The biggest advantage to having Chris Paul in Golden State right now is that he's going to get everybody easy buckets. Having an elite floor general getting easy shots for players like Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton II and Kevon Looney. It'll help these guys find the rhythm much easier in nights where they might be struggling or might not be getting a lot of touches. Oh, and of course, it's going to be even better for Steph and Klay having a precise passer hitting them in their favorite spots on the floor. The Golden State offense over the last decade has always featured a lot of ball movement, a lot of passing, but there hasn't been a lot of accurate passers that have come to Golden State over the years. In last night's contest, when Paul came off of the bench, he played 27 minutes and closed out the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter alongside Klay and Steph. Wiggins has had a tough start to the season, so I could see plenty of situations this year when either Wiggins or Looney are really struggling. They could slot Chris Paul into the spot to get some additional playmaking on the floor and have the lineup run a little bit smaller, as they like to do. Chris offers this squad some newfound versatility that we didn't know this team needed. It's hard to say how far it'll take them with such a competitive Western Conference, but the Golden State Warriors should absolutely be right in the fold with any Western team looking to compete for an NBA championship. The Warriors are now 2-1 early in the season, as this year looks like it's going to shape up as one of the best NBA seasons in recent memory. If you want to see more NBA content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out some of my more recent videos.